You lost weight on the scale. Great, right? Not so fast. You might have lost muscle. In fact, when you look at the studies on weight loss, usually people lose almost as much or as much muscle as body fat. What does that mean? That means you're smaller, same flabbiness version of yourself. You're weaker with a slower metabolism. All right, let's talk about the top 3 signs you can get that'll tell you that you're burning fat, but not muscle.
Yes, this is interesting to talk about because I actually think this is really difficult for most people.
Oh, very difficult.
Well, to determine for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's even difficult for us, right? How many times even when you were a trainer, did you assume you were doing things the right way, and you go and you retest body fat, and the results come back shitty? You know, they come back
so many times.
Yeah, so
I like your story the best. You actually had. You've told this before, but I'd love for you to retell it to kind of illustrate this, because you actually had your entire training staff do a competition.
I was there. Yeah.
And this is a staff of experienced
trainers,
fitness professionals.
Yeah. We used to. So I had a relationship with the guys who owned the Fitness Wave, which is a hydrostatic way, right? So one of the most accurate ways to test your body fat percentage. And everybody really liked it because of the accuracy of it. It was they'd show up to the gym and we'd make appointments all day. We came up with this idea one time just to create some good energy around the staff. I had a staff of about 20 trainers at the time. That we'd all put money in a pot, and we would do this challenge for I think 3 months. I think is what we did, and it was who could get the greatest change of percentage, right? So track where your body fat percentage is, who could get the greatest change, get the best results.
Was there a prize, by the way, with this?
The money. We'd all put a couple $100 in.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So everybody put money into the pot.
Oh wow.
And then there was, and then of course, more than anything else, it's bragging rights, right? We're all trainers. So at the, it's like, who's the best at this?
Oh, you get a bunch of trainers competing at some time.
And man, it lit a fire under my staff. I mean, my staff everybody was on it, and showing up work multiple times to do cardio. You come in on a Saturday night randomly. I'd come in and check something in my office, and there'd be a trainer on a Stairmaster. There was trainers doing burpees in the sauna. I mean, it was just, it was on, right? Everybody was super competitive about it, and we go and we get our results after a few months, and the amount of trainers that were so furious, and doesn't work. It's inaccurate. This is not true. This is because so many of us had lost weight, lost 10, 15 pounds or whatever like that during that time, but lost as much muscle as we lost body fat. And that couldn't be possible. My diet was dialed. I was eating perfectly clean, and I was doing all this stuff. But I mean, it was such a great example of even all these educated, experienced trainers at the highest level making this mistake. And that mistake was, and this to me was really when I started to piece this together. Like at this point, similar thing had happened to me. And I started to realize what a fine line it was to be in a caloric deficit consistently and to over-apply intensity, i.e. cardio, and what ends up happening. And how frustrating that can be. And at the highest level of these guys and girls that, understand nutrition and they were getting protein, they were taking their shakes and bars and supplements, everything they were supposed to do. Yet when the results came in, they had ended up losing as much muscle as they had lost body fat, and so their percentages would stay the same. Some even went up.
Yeah. For people
something went up.
For people to understand this, like body fat percentage is what matters, not total body fat on your body. If you had to pick one or the other, it's body fat percentage, right? 20 pounds of body fat on a 200-pound man is 10% body fat. 20 pounds of body fat on a 100-pound man, and I'm using extremes here just to illustrate this, is 20% body fat. It's very different. 20% body fat on a guy is overweight. 10% is you got a six-pack, right? So it's about the percentage. So if you lost 15 pounds on the scale, 5 of it was fat, 10 of it was muscle, you're 15 pounds lighter and you're fatter.
Yeah.
You're actually fatter. You look fatter, you're weaker, and you're less healthy. And this is not uncommon. This is actually very common. So it's important to understand, aside from body fat testing, because body fat testing, that's the gold standard, right? Get a body fat test, do it week over week. either calipers or if you have access to underwater weighing or something, relatively consistent, where you can kind of see the trend. That's the gold standard. But what if you don't have access to that? Like, what are the signs that, well, the scale's going down, feels like I'm doing things right, but how do I know it's body fat and not muscle? I think the first most important sign is this: you're as strong as you were before, or you're stronger. I think if you lose weight on the scale and you're lifting more weight, or you're lifting the same weight that you did before, same intensity, you feel good, the odds that you lost muscle are slim, especially if you got stronger. Like if you lost 10 pounds or 15 pounds and you're squatting more, you're deadlifting more, you're pressing more, I would bet all my money that you didn't lose any muscle. It's very likely you kept your muscle or built muscle through that process. That's why I like strength as a metric, because it's objective. Now, of course, you could get stronger through better technique and central nervous system adaptation, but it's hard to do that and lose muscle at the same time. So with my clients, this was my number one gauge. Like as we're starting to get leaner and I'm tracking the weight that they're lifting, if I see their weight going up at the same time, I'm like, we are in an amazing place. Like we are crushing right now, because what you're losing on the scale is very, very, very likely to be just body fat. And it looks like we may actually be gaining muscle at the same time.
Yeah, this would probably be the greatest sign. Also rare though too, I feel like. Just because most people in a calorie deficit that are leaning out tend to lose a little bit of strength. So if you're able to maintain strength and or possibly gain strength, you're almost certainly just losing body fat and or holding muscle, or maybe even building muscle because newbie gains, or maybe like my recent scenario where I'd fallen off the wagon, came back, and muscle memory. And so, it is possible. It's definitely possible to do that. I think it's definitely probably the best sign if you can get that. But I would also be totally discouraged if you lose a little bit of strength. It's possible you could lose some strength and still be doing a really good job. That's why the second one to me was always my gauge, which is watching my waistline come in, but then the rest of my muscles feel like they're still there. If that makes sense. Like I feel like losing inches on the waist, but keeping arms and chest and shoulder size, like being able to keep your muscle size visibly. I can see that, oh, okay, my shoulders, my chest, my arms, they look good. They look like they're built. But then seeing my waist shrink in, like that to me was always like, okay, I'm in a really good spot right there.
Well, to the earlier one, I would think too, like it's probably rare to see your strength go up with lifting weights, but if you actually see yourself getting stronger in terms of body weight exercises, that would make a lot of sense. And you'd see that pretty easily doing pull-ups and dips, and I always notice that. But like actually increasing strength, because again, you're preserving strength, but now you're losing weight overall. So that would
your reps are going up.
Reps will go up.
Yeah, strength to weight ratio is more important if you're advanced. So if you've been lifting for a while and then you go into calorie deficit, it's normal to lose strength. If you're a beginner, so our clients, when we would start training clients early on, they'd all get stronger as they got leaner right out the gates, because they got those kind of
gains.
Yes. If you're experienced, this is very like for me. If I were to try and get
it's very
super
difficult.
shredded, I'm gonna get weaker because I'm always pushing the max. But what I would look at then is strength to weight ratio. If I lost 20 pounds of body fat, or 20 pounds, I should say, on the scale, but my squat only goes down 10 pounds, I'm doing pretty damn good. My strength to weight ratio
is better.
Actually went up. Now for the waist one, I like the waist to do waist circumference measurements, because this is a place where you don't tend to gain a lot of muscle. Like even if you develop your abs and your obliques, you're not going to gain inches of muscle around your waist. Those muscles don't hypertrophy in that way. So if you lose weight on the scale and you're losing a lot of inches, you're probably losing mostly body fat. The only time this may happen and not lose body fat is if your digestion improves, if you're less bloated. So this would be a little trickier, in my opinion, with female clients. With male clients, though, like I actually preferred waist circumference measurements over any other measurement to measure their progress of fat loss. Because with men, it's like your waist's going to get small. If your waist is going down along with the scale, like we're burning body fat. But if you lost 15 pounds and you only lose an inch on your waist, okay, we should probably lost more inches around your waist. What's going on. So waist, in fact, there's data that shows that you could relatively accurately predict body fat percentage in men with just the waist circumference. Now the next one, this one is, I think, more important for women to understand, because what I'm about to say tends to confuse women when they're working out in the gym.
Yeah.
So if you're doing things right, if you're strength training and you're getting leaner and you're losing body fat, you're not losing muscle, or maybe you're gaining muscle at the same time, this tends to either freak women out or confuse them or derail them, because they're a little lighter, they're leaner, but my butt feels bigger, my
Pants
back
fit
feels bigger,
differently.
my pants feel bigger. What is going on here? Am I gaining body fat? I don't like the fact. I would have female clients sometimes tell me they don't stop strength training because they feel like they're getting too big. No, it's your butt, your muscle. Those muscles will grow, will change the shape of your body, and women's clothing in particular is not designed for women with any kind of muscle. You don't have to look like a bodybuilder. You just have any muscle whatsoever, and suddenly your traditional jeans or whatever feel like they're tight around the glutes, and your shirts will feel tighter.
This would spin
around the back.
Clients out.
Yes.
Yeah, just like anytime focused on the scale for what's happening, like the way that their clothes fit, it is going to inevitably change, and you're going to go through this bit of a metamorphosis in terms of where you're going to gain that bit of muscle, which is going to push and shape the jeans are going to have to kind of taper and alter to that. So it's like you're going to have to end up going shopping. I mean, that's the end of the day. Like, that's what's going to have to happen.
I feel like it's really the combo of all three of these of what I'm kind of looking at.
Totally.
Right? Like, I know that I'm probably going to lose a little bit of strength, but I want to be able to maintain as much as I possibly can, because I know that if I maintain as much as I possibly can, there's a good chance I'm hanging on to most of my muscle. I definitely want to see my waist come in. But then when I think about my muscles, my glutes, legs, arms, I want to see them maybe even gaining in size or at least looking really good and defined. And so I'm kind of using all three of those combined to let me know, like, and this is assuming I don't have the tools, or I'm like between body fat measurements, right? Like, say I'm measuring body fat every month, but I'm kind of paying attention to these things between those times, and I'm kind of watching all of those, and that's what I want to see. I want to see waist shrinking, but I want to see defined and muscular still. I want to be able to hang on to as much strength as I possibly can, and these are all ways to kind of make sure I'm heading down the right path. And any of them swinging way out is the cause for, okay, wait, let me dive in a little bit to what I'm doing. Am I under consuming? Am I doing too much? Am I not doing enough? Like, watching all three though together to me is like the best barometer on how well I'm progressing or not.
Totally, because the scale is by itself is a terrible metric for a lot of people, especially if you're strength training simultaneously. Hey, sorry to interrupt. Look, I have a free guide that teaches you how to lose fat in 3 steps, just 3 steps that will burn the most amount of body fat and help keep it off. This guide is totally free. We're giving it to everybody right now. If you want it, click on the link at the top of the description below. All right, back to the show.
Totally.
Speaking of shrinking waist, you know what is coming back in fashion, or to say it better, is now becoming a trend again in the gyms? I thought we killed this. I thought we killed this stupid trend when we started the podcast, but it seems to be making a comeback. Our editor Danny informed me, and I'm also seeing it in the gyms.
Wearing weight belts,
Waist trainers,
waist
squeams.
Oh God! Why?
Did they ever die?
Yeah.
They for a little while there.
We weren't seeing
I think
it for
if
a minute.
if you were wearing one, people would be like, "Oh, you shouldn't be wearing that." But you're seeing them more now. And Danny's like, "Oh yeah, I'm seeing this a lot in the female fitness space start to become a thing."
Because I feel like we came out so strong about that and shamed everybody. But it was still going on, but you weren't talking about, like, there was a point when I was first competing early on, right? Early MP days. There was men's physique guys showing off their squeams, taking pictures in the mirror wearing their squeams, as if it was like a badge of honor or something. So I definitely think we moved from that, right? We definitely, I think we shamed them enough to know that you definitely shouldn't be bragging about it if you're doing it. You shouldn't be doing it at all. So I think it kind of suppressed it a little bit, but it seems like it's always been there to me. I feel like people still be doing that shit, dude.
So for people who don't know what they are, so waist trainers, or squeams as they're known, is essentially it's a wide corset-looking kind of weight belt-like thing that you wear around your waist. And what they'll say is if you wear this for hours at a time, I think people wear them like 8 or 10 hours a day or all day long.
Yeah, all day.
It will shrink your waist. Now, what's happening when you wear these, by the way, is it's no different. It's no different than me wearing a cast around my arm.
Yeah.
So if I wear a cast around my arm, it's going to get smaller because I'm going to atrophy the muscle.
Yeah.
I'm losing muscle. And so what these are doing is they're causing people to lose muscle around their core. So their spinal erector muscles, their obliques, internal, external, their abs.
So they're killing their support system for their back.
They're also losing functionality, not just from the muscles shrinking, but also because they're being supported. So your body learns how to use this support and stop supporting itself on one of the most vulnerable places in your body, which is your low back. Yeah. Also, if you are in fitness and you're doing anything to make yourself purposely lose function and strength and muscle, it's so antithesis to what we do. It's so frustrating and annoying. I can't believe it. But don't make your muscles around your core atrophy. What are you doing? Yeah. And what are you going to lose, an inch and then become weaker and your injury risk go up? I know a young lady who got a
blockage, right?
She got an adhesion in her lower intestine because she wore she wore it so tight that she had to get surgery and have some of her
it's actually more common. It's more common than you would think. That happened. So I knew several bikini athletes that happened to.
Really?
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's an actual emergency.
I mean, it's up there with some of the stupidest things that we do in our space. It's definitely up there. I mean, we've done a lot of dumb things, right? I mean, guys chew on dynamite and stuff like that to lose body fat.
Hold on.
We do some other dumb shit.
You got to give some clarity. People are like, what are you talking about? There's a fat burning compound that's used in the making of dynamite that bodybuilders found sped up their metabolism, so they would take it.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
What's it called again?
I forgot what it was called.
Oh god, what is that called?
It was popular. I mean, I think it's still a thing.
Dude, I know a guy. We did an episode
crazy
years ago about that, and a guy approached me at the gym. And he's like, dude, I tried that. And I'm like, what was it like? He goes, you take it, then you sit in your room.
It's like an inferno, right?
You sweat and you have a terrible fever and you sweat yellow. And he's like, you feel like you're going to die.
It melts you internally.
Yes, dude. It's called, what's it called, Doug?
Dinotrophonol?
Yeah, DNP.
Oh, DNP.
DNP was what people,
Right,
DNP.
now somebody listen to this.
Wow. Don't do that stuff.
No.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we're notorious for, we as in the fitness nuts, right? Like are notorious for doing really ridiculous stuff in the pursuit of looking a certain way.
But the whole like wearing the waist trainer, and then I see people not working out in them, and it's so it's like atrophying and weakening any part of your body isn't a good idea because you're going to. Well, it's just obvious. It's obvious. I think I don't think I need to explain it, but especially your lumbar spine area.
Well, this is why I've always...
I know.
You're going to slip a disc or you're going to really potentially cause it so you can never work out again.
Yeah.
This is why I've always made the argument, and I know there's people that are real athletes that get offended by calling bodybuilders and bikini people athletes, but
that's probably
But this is why...
It's one reason right there.
This is why, though, I say they are, is because... And I say it because it's a sport, and sports aren't healthy for the body. And yet... we still highlight, women's bikini, men's physique, bodybuilders as health people, and they're just not. They're way not. They're more like an athlete who's willing to do whatever it takes to win at their sport or get the competitive.
Whatever the rules are of that sport.
Whatever it is to get the competitive edge, regardless if it shaves years off their life or isn't healthy for them. It doesn't matter. Win at all costs. And so for that reason, I think it is a lot like sports, and it's definitely more like sports than it is like health. Mm-hmm. But we put these people on a pedestal as if they're great examples of health, and they really aren't, and they shouldn't be. And I don't know if it's we put them on there that much or they present themselves like they are.
It's a good point. I mean, it's as stupid as putting a helmet on, slamming it into somebody else's head and, thinking that you're just going to be okay. Like doing that, obviously you're not going to be okay. You're setting yourself up for long-term damage. So, but it's the perception in the public is the thing that we have to address because they are propped up like they're these examples of health. And that, we're putting them on magazines and we're, idolizing their process of getting to a point where their body looks so symmetrically put together.
It's funny because in the a couple hundred years ago, 150 years ago, 100 years ago, women wore corsets. And they had special couches that they made for women that were, I don't know what they call them, fainting couches. You know, the whole,
Yeah.
so that like you watch old
fainting couches.
cartoons and you'd see women, and they'd faint. They actually used to faint because they wore corsets that were so tight.
They couldn't breathe.
That's right. And so it was a thing that women would faint from these things that they would wear.
Get a little low glycemic.
Yeah. And I think they lined them with like what they lined with like a whalebone or something like that.
Yeah.
To make them super, super stiff.
You know, since you guys brought up, since we're talking about fashion, it's so funny that you went this direction because I actually had something in my notes to bring up that is along this line. I thought, I have no idea where this is going to fit in this conversation.
Well, here you go.
Perfect spot.
Way to go. Thank you for
You're welcome.
the layup there. So have you guys heard of, look up this for the guys, Doug, Slaviks fashion, Slaviks, I believe I spelt that right. And it's fashioned by Balenciaga.
Isn't Balenciaga like satanic?
Yeah, they're the ones that got all the attention for all that crazy stuff that was going on with Kanye and everything like that.
It points to like the demon ball.
I just thought this was kind of crazy. Okay, so I know that this isn't like our thing, right? We don't talk fashion on this podcast, but Balenciaga is a really high end, you know.
I remember that.
Okay. So Slaviks fashion is like a huge line of Balenciaga that sells for ridiculous amounts of money, and it was inspired by a homeless guy. And so
this is Zoolander come full circle.
Yes.
Dude.
So there is this homeless guy, Slavik. There he is right there. He's got an entire Instagram page built around him. And he all this is obviously found out of a dumpster and just closed it. He's pieced together.
So it's literally a picture of him in his homeless attire.
And then what the models ended up wearing. So they completely were inspired by the way he dressed every day.
I hope they pay him.
This
poor dude is still homeless.
He's disappeared. They can't find him. That's why I think the reason why the article came up.
Oh, what?
Was I think they haven't been able to find him for a long time. But if Doug keeps scrolling down,
fashionable bum ever.
Wow, look at the pictures. Look at the one right there on the right.
They're all from him.
On the very right in the middle there with the shirt open in the middle. Look at that, dude.
Is that wild or what? And so you've got these people paying ridiculous amount of money, all
He's just their muse.
By a homeless guy who used to dig in the trash and put these outfits together, and then they made all these lines. Isn't that wild?
God. There's something unnerving about this right here. You know what I mean? A little twisted.
It's hella twisted.
Like you see some
and it totally
guy.
and it is Zoolander.
Yeah.
It is Zoolander all over again.
It for sure is a Zoolander.
I mean, I almost feel like too. It's like whoever came up with this is like, listen, we could do that. We could totally just make a whole line, and people are dumb enough to buy this.
Yeah. Do you guys remember there was an episode of Saved by the Bell where because who was the girl that was popular on there?
Kelly.
It was Kelly.
Kelly Kapowski.
And they were like, you could wear anything, and everybody's gonna wear it the next day. And she wore pizza on her head.
Oh yeah, yeah. It is.
And everybody started wearing pizza on their head.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that fashion really isn't about what looks good? It's really just about a bunch of really popular people that are like, we're going to make this.
Oh, I agree.
We're going to make it a thing.
I definitely. I mean, you guys probably don't pay attention to this either.
Just a bunch of copycats.
So the NBA, Doug can look this up too because you guys will get a laugh. Look at NBA fashion, and you'll see. So it's become very popular for all the cameras and everything to video the players. As LeBron James, shows up to, the Memphis Grizzlies game, and it's him showing up off the bus or the plane or whatever like that. And what they're wearing is turned into almost like a runway thing. They make a big deal about it, and every athlete's always wearing. And the stuff that they be wearing is look up Kyle Kuzma. Look at his fashion. Go to don't do an Instagram page like that. Come on, Doug. Go to Google. Kyle Kuzma
images.
Yeah, there you go. Fashion. And you can see look at that sweater he's wearing on the top left.
Wow.
This was an outfit last year. He got cut on GQ for it. Cut on GQ for that. Can you click it, Doug? Top left.
If he wasn't a famous basketball player,
that's a real outfit, bro.
Oversized sweater.
That's what my 2-year-old looked like the other day. She put on my shirt.
But so it's every night. Every night of the NBA, there's like these outfits that they come out in, and it's like who can wear the most ridiculous thing that people will bite off of and start wearing. And
That's funny.
I don't know.
Weird.
I think it's like this inside joke.
Yeah, they're probably having their own competition of like how absurd and ridiculous.
I feel like if I was like crazy famous like this with my buddies, I'd be like, "Hey, dude, let's watch this."
There was
showing up with trash bags. And,
Listen, we all were teenagers in the 90s.
Shower caps.
We were all teenagers in the 90s. You guys remember Criss Cross, where they came out and their style was. So people don't remember this.
Okay, here's where a little bit different though. I think that time, and okay, maybe this is just me being biased and defending my era, it was like a sign of rebellion. Like it was being rebellious to wear your clothes backwards or to wear something baggy. It was more of like where it's not rebellious anymore. There's nothing rebellious.
You can't be like,
because no one cares what you do anymore.
Super ridiculous. Yeah, everybody's super ridiculous now.
So
like being normal is wild.
It's always going to be painted as rebellious. Fashion's always going to be that way. But my point with Criss Cross was, here were some they were young hip hop artists, they were kids, and they literally wore their pants and shirts backwards, and it started a short trend.
Yeah.
For like a year or two.
My friends did it.
For like a year or two, we'd go to school and people were wearing overalls and jeans backwards.
Yeah.
I almost feel like there's like these little puppet masters at the top, and they just love to see how stupid everybody is. Hey, what we're going to do? We're going to make everyone wear their stuff backwards.
They're trying to start a trend because then the trend gets them more traction, which then sells more albums and, gets people to go to their concerts. So, I mean, it's to their benefit if they have like a full look on top of also selling like their music. So
it's like a massive troll.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a big part of the entertainment industry, was like trying to hack into that, like the psychology where kids would just, buy into the whole thing.
Yeah, I almost feel like they just do it just like, hey, watch all these idiots, worship us. We'll make them wear whatever we want.
I do think it's something like that. I mean, like I said, if we were at that place, right, and you're already filthy rich, or all this attention, so that you got nothing better to do. You're like, what, let's troll everybody. Let's see what we can wear and see whose thing will be more trendy and get picked up on. So,
but I'm always like astounded that ever since Jordan shoes, like they came out and it became a thing, and then ever since then shoes have sucked. Like it just had like a terrible, like way too wild, way too like nothing was like classically designed. There's like a period that was like really like good looking things that were like classic, like normal, and then it just got like out of control. I'm wondering if it's going to come back.
So I used to feel the same way too, Justin. I don't know if that's true as much as what we see now. We're so inundated with so much stuff now because some of the most popular shoes,
the fashion cycle.
Listen, are Chucks.
Yeah,
that's why my point is they've stayed.
Stan Smiths. Stan Smiths are some of the most popular shoes, and those are tennis. They're 1970s, white. You've seen me wear mine before that are just solid white shoes. So like they're still very simple design, super popular. It's just I think there's so much, and you see the wild and crazy, and so it feels like it went all bad. But it's like there's still that lane that if you want that type of stuff, it still exists.
There's a period of time where having a tan was not considered attractive at all, and I think it was the 60s, late 50s.
The goth era?
No. Where
it was all pasty.
Where
places in like China and Japan, it's always been that way, right?
Yes.
It has been, yes.
Yeah, that's because you're somebody who works in the field if you had a tan.
Right. Well, even here, everywhere, like you didn't want to have a tan. But there was a time period where cinema actors were going on vacation in the Mediterranean, coming back doing movies. So they had this tan, and it became trendy. Now having a tan is like a good thing. People like to go lay out.
Is that your theory on why it got popular?
That is why.
It is?
Yeah, that is why.
That's like proven. You know that?
Yeah.
Really?
In American cinema.
Because I don't. Obviously, I don't remember.
Well, tans were always for us. We grew up where tans were looking good.
Yeah.
It was I think in the 50s. I want to say when this started happening, where people come back from vacations. These celebrities.
Yeah.
And it became this like. This thing or whatever.
That was funny because that's like one of the big buttons that like kids would make fun of you. Like, oh, you're a ghost. You're like, oh my God.
They didn't say that to me. They didn't say that to me in Adam. They said
yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it was never popular when I grew up.
I definitely want to give you your credit where you deserve it too. You definitely won the 5th grade picture.
Yeah, dude. First of all, talking all kinds of crap. Like you get a terrible picture. I pull out my worst one.
Wait a second. I mean,
I
still had a mullet, crooked teeth, and my hat halfway up.
You
my
were
head.
adorable. You just had a little.
No.
Yeah,
I mean, I was a good looking kid. You know what I'm saying? I was a good looking kid. You can't take that away from me.
You said you were not. I was a good looking. I told you you were a cute kid. He looked normal.
Justin looked toy. He looked like Leave It to Beaver. He looked like a normal fucking kid.
Yeah, that's why I hated it.
I look like Michael Jackson had a baby with IT tech support.
Yeah. You definitely won. You got the best. You had the best comments on Instagram. Were so good.
Shocking.
You were like, I swore I gave that kid $1 a day.
I love that. I don't care. It's a good time.
My mom
respect for putting
because you reached out to her for she sent me a bunch of other ones, and so I
have you?
Yeah, I didn't even remember half of these pictures. I'm looking at. I'm going, oh wow. But looking at all of them, I still think that one is I think I look the goofiest with my hat.
I feel like I should have put my leprechaun one out there.
Please,
I told you guys I was the only kid in school that had to go to school as a leprechaun on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, you showed up dressed up.
I was very confused.
And you have pictures of that?
I have it somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
How old are you?
To find
what
that.
grade?
Oh, that had to be around like 4th, 5th grade.
Ooh, that's not a good time to do that.
Oh
either.
wow! Doug pulled up in the 1920s.
Oh, it was the
Coco
20s.
Chanel returned from
That's what it was.
20.
Okay, so I had it mixed up.
Have you seen that? There's a good documentary on Coco Chanel. I forget what it was called.
Mediterranean cruise. I had all of it right except for the date.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I said they went on vacation
All
in the
of it?
Mediterranean.
Is that what
Coco
you said?
Chanel.
Yeah.
Oh.
I did. You got to listen to me sometimes. Pay attention. Your ADD's a little.
I have not seen the documentary, Adam.
You haven't? Or you
I have not.
Yeah, there's a good documentary. Maybe Dylan can look up what it's called.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Are you struggling to get a flat midsection, a flat tummy? We have a free flat tummy guide. In there, we give you strategies, techniques, exercises, nutrition tips on how to get a flat tummy. You can get it right now. It's totally free by clicking on the link in the description below. Hey, as you're looking that up, Doug, I want to bring something up because this whole GLP-1 thing, which is it's still exploding, right? I think my earlier what I said, I'm going to stand by. I think about 60 to 70% of Americans are going to be on one at some point. But what's happening is you have a lot of people who really aren't good candidates for GLP-1s, but want help with fat loss. And so I'm getting all these questions.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I want to lose, 10 pounds, or I want to drop 5% body fat, so I'm going to start on a GLP-1. I'm like, there's better peptides for you. For example, a GLP-1's good if you are very overweight and you've struggled for a long time and it's very, very challenging for you. And you combine it with a good approach, high protein diet.
You don't have a good handle on your cravings.
I think it could be very helpful. You want to drop 5% body fat, lose 10 pounds of body, 10 pounds of body fat or whatever. Use the growth hormone releasing peptides.
Tesamorelin, like that?
Tesamorelin is probably my favorite one. And then on that note, people will ask me about ibutamorin, which raises IGF-1 quite a bit. That one's really good. That's better for bulking. That's better for building muscle because it raises appetite.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, ibutamorin and
it makes you sleep like a baby.
Yeah, it mimics ghrelin, and it raises growth hormone or IGF-1 the most, but your appetite will go up. A tesamorelin won't raise your appetite, but it raises growth hormone. Those are much more appropriate for people for fat loss when they're in that range. I don't drop, go from 15% to 10% body fat or something like that.
Yeah.
Those peptides can definitely make a difference with your current strategy because as your growth hormone goes up, you'll build a little muscle, but mostly burn more body fat through the process.
I'm glad you said that because I've seen quite a few people that only need to lose 10 or 15 pounds.
Yeah, it's like, don't go on a GLP-1.
And are using it for that. I think the best candidate is somebody who has a 20 plus minimum, okay, 20 plus pounds that they need to lose. They're also self-aware enough to know that they struggle with restricting from certain foods. They binge eat. You know what I'm saying? They have the late night snacking issues or the food that they're addicted to, and they're aware that they are, and they've just had a hard time breaking that. Because to me, that breaking that attachment and allowing it to create space from that addiction to that food, to me is the biggest game changer for people.
Yeah.
That allows those people to go in, do the work, create good habits later on. And it gives them that breathing room to separate them from that crazy addiction, And so to me, those are the people who are like, oh, I put on a little weight from the holidays or whatever.
Or only get lean for summer.
Yeah.
Go on a growth hormone releasing peptide. That'll do it for you. That'll help you.
Yeah.
But the GLP-1's too strong. There's no need for you to go on those. for those kind of results. By the way, there's a lot of, I still have to bring this up every time, because you can go online and there's a lot of quote unquote research chemical companies that are selling these peptides through this gray market kind of loophole where it says not for human consumption, it's for research purposes only. And so people are buying them and using those. And I got to warn you, you don't know what's in there. You don't know what's in there. If they're off by a little bit, you'll still get some results, but you don't know what else is happening in your body. And some of these have been tested and they've been contaminated or whatever. You don't know what you're putting in your body. So go through, like our partners at nphormones.com, that is through a FDA regulated pharmacy, doctor prescribed. It's not research chemicals, so you don't even know where it's coming from type of deal.
Have you guys watched cable in a while, like just with commercials and
not since I was in hotel.
Not like I was like just recently watching, I think it was like Anchorman 2 or something. It was on TV, and we had to sit through the commercials, and it was 5, if not 6 medical commercials for drugs.
80%, man.
I was like,
80%.
This is still happening. Do you think that we're going to see any kind of change in that direction?
So. I think so. I hope so.
I mean, we're one of only a few countries that even allows that. Like most other countries don't even allow.
No, there's only one other
for
one.
people wondering, so I this was really made clear to me. RFK was on a podcast and broke this down, and it makes perfect sense. Why would pharmaceutical companies advertise to people who can't buy the drug? They have to still go through the doctor. What's the advertising for? And you think, well, it's to ask your doctor about it. No, it's
the messaging.
Not. It's because they control 70+% of the advertising revenue of these networks. That's why they put all these commercials on there. Because when you're a cable network and 70% of your revenue is coming from a pharmaceutical company, you're going to be a little bit worried, or should I say,
United States and New Zealand are the only two. The only two in the entire world that allows that.
Dude, speaking of
everybody else knows it's crooked.
It dominates.
It's corrupt.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I wasn't sure about bringing this up. This is just one study, so everybody relax, but it's a big study.
Oh God, are you going to bring up the one that Dave Asprey just talked about?
Well, he shared it, and it's a large. This was just released.
Did you dig into it a little bit?
I did.
Okay.
This was just released, so this is going to be flying everywhere. This is the title of the article: Vaccination and Neurodevelopmental Disorders, a study of 9-year-old children enrolled in Medicaid. 47,000 9-year-old children that they followed through Medicaid.
47,000.
So it's a big group.
Wow, that is a big
group. The results suggest that the current vaccination schedule is contributing to multiple forms of neurodevelopment disorders, including autism. If this study is correct, what this data shows is accurate, this would mean that about 80% of autism could be related or connected to the vaccination schedule. But this is all neurodevelopmental disorders, including ADD. So this is crazy. It's peer reviewed. It's a big one. And I'm sure it's going to be flying. There's going to be a lot of controversy around this one.
Tons of controversy.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. I was worried.
Needs to be examined for
you
sure.
Even bringing that up because people get really pissed about that.
I know.
Get really, really pissed about that.
I know.
Well, that's been the messaging forever. It's like you can't question it.
Well, the amount of vaccines that the kids take now is crazy compared to what even just our generation.
Well, I have a family member. I won't say too much because I won't call him out. But I have a family member who gets really upset over this stuff. And now there's a lot of people that get really upset because, and I get this as a parent, when you make a decision for your child, and if you start to maybe either someone present to you something or you realize that maybe the decision you made contributed to something that they're suffering from, your natural instinct is going to be defend it tooth and nail. Because
of course.
What a terrible realization to have, that you did something that might have hurt your kid. Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a really, really hard one, And you can't escape it, by the way, as a parent. You're going to think this anyway. Like, no matter what, you're going to look back and be like, oh, I messed up my kid somehow doing this thing or that thing or whatever. But this one, I think this is why it's such a divisive, Yeah.
Well, I know there's been a lot of safety trials that they've examined in the past. I know so RFK's book exposed some of this and talked about it with Fauci and ended up suing Fauci and won because they didn't present any of those safety trials.
Wow.
Because they didn't have any proof. And it's like, if people really want to look into it, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I'm not like trying to throw shade on everybody and making their decisions, but be informed.
Yeah. If this study's accurate and they start to dive in and start to really make these connections, oh man, it'll be disrupting, to say the least, to culture because of how long we've gone down that road. I don't know. I don't know what that would cost.
Do you remember, Doug, do you remember how many, like when you were a kid, like how many vaccine shots that you were required to take before school? And do you know where we're at now, Sal, in comparison?
You can look it up, bro. It's the difference is
very few.
The difference is very big.
Yeah.
For us, when we were kids, forget Doug, when we were kids.
I know. So
look at vaccine schedule
it ramped up
in
like
the 80s versus today or whatever.
When Max was born and they told me, my jaw dropped on how many. I'm like, that many we're supposed to do over the next year? That's crazy how many.
Yeah.
It's just a lot different. It's just a lot different.
Yeah.
But the problem too is there's so many things that are so different that like how do you point to one thing or the other? But this study was kind of an interesting one. There was that one group too in Southern California. I can't remember but I think it was Southern California, where they saw for the first time ever a drop in autism, which we don't see anymore among this group of children.
What are they attributed to?
It was a wealthy part. I think it was L.A. It might have been L.A. or San Francisco. It was a wealthy part of California where all these parents were not vaccinating their kids. And they saw, which you don't see again, dropping rates of autism.
Really?
Yes. And I can't remember the place. I can't remember where it was, but you could find it.
You pull those numbers up, Doug?
Yeah. So in the 80s, it looked like there's just a handful, maybe 6 or 7. Yeah, there's a schedule here.
I don't even remember that many.
I know. I remember like 3.
Two. Yeah, I remember like 2.
Yeah. No, today it's like.
I mean, it's diphtheria, tetanus.
Today it's like
measles,
50 or
mumps,
something like
rubella,
that.
polio.
Measles.
Yeah.
There's a crazy amount now.
Yeah.
And then what is today? Do you have today's up or not?
Oh, let me pull that up.
Yeah.
There was a chart that I pulled up once that had one versus the other, and it was insane.
Okay. There's a chart here, and it's pretty crazy if I can pull it up.
Yeah, it's a lot. There you go. Yeah. There's dose. Yeah.
What does that total up to?
This is just for childhood too.
Yeah.
Through
18 months.
yeah,
That's
15 months.
15
Yeah,
months.
that's what I remember. I remember seeing the thing, and I'm like, nah. You know what people don't know too, though, is like you could postpone this shit. Like you could, like they make you feel like you have to do all this stuff right now, right away. You absolutely
you can delay them.
I think this.
I delayed all his stuff.
This plus COVID are the two leading reasons why homeschooling has exploded. Is these two things right here.
Yep.
In California, has seen an explosion in homeschooling because they really clamped down on these laws and said, no, now you can't have an exemptions. So I have cousins whose daughters have exemptions for real reasons, and they had to pull them out of school because they're like, nope, no more exemption.
Now, how do we compare to other countries?
That's a good question. I think we're.
I imagine we're the
one of
highest.
the highest.
I would imagine we are.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a good question. There's a lot of money in that.
Yeah.
And they're not, and they can't, there's a limit to what they can, like lawsuits. I know that we passed a law in the 80s.
Well, that's why you saw so many.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, I'm going to take a turn.
wait. While we're scaring people, let's stay on this real quick.
That's the one. So autism rates in California declined in wealthy counties: Santa Clara, Monterey, Marin, and Sonoma. And they went in and found that there were a lot of, these are like the crunchy, wealthy, Californians who are just like, no, I'm not here. Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah. That's the one that I was talking about.
Interesting. So while we're continuing to scare people, did you see the lawsuit that Apple's got going on right now?
No.
From the wristbands. It was.
Is it all the forever chemicals
Yes.
in the Apple Watch
In
wristbands?
the watch?
Yes.
The wristbands.
Yeah. I knew
Oh,
I
great.
had that stupid
I've worn
watch.
one for a long
That's
time.
why. Yeah.
You know what? I got a rash and I stopped wearing it. Like
No
within a week.
lawsuits for Rolex. I don't see none of that shit. Oh, you Apple Watch
Gold
dorks.
in my veins. Oh, you Apple Watch dorks.
Stupid.
Yeah, pull it up. I want to know.
It's the plastic, right? It's the plastic ones.
Yeah. Forever Chemicals is what the article says on that. I mean, can't you pretty much get that from almost any plastic anything, right?
Lots of plastic.
And they're trying to make it so it's that type of plastic that doesn't cause like a reaction in your skin. That was the biggest thing they were concerned
it's also
with.
high in
But
PFAs.
Lots of PFAs.
So I have a sister-in-law who works for them and gave Katrina and I both Apple Watches. So and I thought, I'll wear it for my steps for a while. And so I don't know if you remember, there was a short period of time where I wore it on my opposite hand, right? Part of what made me stop was I actually got this like little rash on my skin.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, and that was enough for me to be like, I said I already don't like this stupid thing, and it's giving me a rash. That was an easy throw it in the trash. No thanks.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So what does it say?
Yeah, so they're facing a lawsuit over watch bands containing potential cancer-causing chemicals.
Yeah.
What do they call them?
PFAs.
Now, do you think that just because it's Apple and it's getting all this attention, because I would think almost any plastic-made watch would be,
of course,
but it's like 'cause it's Apple.
Targeted, yeah,
I'm sure, right?
I heard that some of the worst plastics that you could use are black or dark plastics, especially the kind you get from restaurant for your leftovers. Don't warm food up in those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was Rhonda Patrick was talking about it. And she said that'll just flood your food.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good to know.
It's like ground up, recycled
tires.
I
don't know.
Is that the tires?
I think. Some of it.
I know that's the football fields for kids.
Well,
I know
that's for sure.
That makes me so mad. The turf.
Yes.
Yeah, we get rid of turf, so we put like ground up we tires.
Try to help a couple rolled ankles and give them cancer instead.
Yeah. Here, have some
There are no ankles, but
wait, isn't turf worse for your? Don't they get more injuries on turf than they do grass?
Well, the kind of turf that was like really thin and was more like almost cement below it, but they changed it so it had like a rubber.
Is that the little black bits that are flying off whenever my
gets in your eyes and your mouth and all over the place? I actually played on a couple of those. That was like towards the latter part.
Dude, speaking of like playing and stuff, like man, high school sports are no joke. Like my daughter is.
Are you watching your daughter go?
Well,
through
just. Every day they train the crap out of them, and then she has like 2 games a week on top of it. By the time Saturday comes around, she's exhausted.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know? Crazy.
I mean, you gotta like it though, no? You like it?
Oh yeah, it's good for her, dude.
Keeps the kids busy.
Part of it is she's like getting into nutrition now,
That's awesome.
Jessica really helps check me on this because you guys know I get excited about something. I'm gonna sell everybody on it, or I'm gonna encourage it. And you know how teenagers are. The more excited you are, the less excited they are.
Right. But you're not.
So she's like reminding me, shut up.
Yeah,
don't say anything.
Let it be.
Yes, just let her, because she started asking about protein, and her and Jessica were talking. Yeah, and I'm just like, protein? I hear protein. So I got her like the high protein yogurts that you eat, Adam.
Yeah.
And I got gluten-free granola. So she's eating that in the morning. She's eating chicken breast sandwiches for lunch. And I'm noticing she's looking like she's building muscle. Her energy's higher. And I'm like really hard. I'm trying to fight the urge to be like, hey, don't you notice you're stronger? Don't you notice you have more energy? Jessica's like, shut your mouth. Let her figure it out, dude.
I wish I understood all that stuff as a kid. It makes me really wonder, like, would it made that big of a difference for me? Because I had a terrible diet. I didn't train. I didn't do any of that stuff.
That's not the mistake you made. You should have swam.
Yeah, well, I was in the wrong sport.
You would have been a college. You would have got a scholarship, dude.
I don't know, but I definitely wish I knew that stuff as a kid growing up. Because I had the work ethic, right? Like, I mean, I definitely was the kid who told me to go the extra mile to do these things. I just didn't have anybody who influenced me nutritionally and exercise.
You also play the wrong sports.
Yeah, that too. Yes, that too.
You would have killed it. I'll never forget that time we're in the pool. Big old meathead. Like
I was like peak bodybuilder.
He was peak bodybuilder, shape. Like, this is not good for swimming. He's like, you swim like a rock.
Yeah, you'd sink.
He jumps in the pool and races college level swimmers and was on their tails. Like this big ass bodybuilder flying through the water. I was like,
right there,
Adam, you missed your callie, bro.
Oh, I had no idea too.
I sunk, man.
As a kid, I remember swimming in lakes, but never had a competition. Our school didn't have a swim team, so never even occurred to me that would be something that I would be okay.
My brother's like that. He swims like a seal, dude. He just through the water.
I mean,
I'll drown, dude. I'm not.
When you understand body types and stuff like that, right? Then it makes sense. But again, more stuff that I wasn't educated. I always wonder was I because I know stubborn me. If older me came and told me what to do, I probably wouldn't listen. So Maybe it's better that I didn't, because it'd be even worse if someone had
It
told me.
would have taken like a hot girl or something.
Hot girl
I love
too.
swimmers. Then you might have Then you would have
So
been like,
great in a speedo. You know, like, really?
I'll try that.
Are you punking me?
Yeah.
So when we were kids, like swimming wasn't like the cool sport.
No, it wasn't.
Right? No, it wasn't really.
It was
like
football, baseball.
Yeah,
That was it.
Basketball.
Basketball,
was cool,
of
yeah.
course.
Yeah, they were like the main ones, right? It wasn't any of the offshoots. So.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Let me take my right now. I want to talk about the class that you and I are going to teach.
Yeah.
What is that? March? What is the date?
3rd?
Is it March 3rd? This one's going to be popular for sure because we're going to
Social
be
media stuff.
This is social media. We're going to teach coaches and trainers how to leverage social media to build their business.
March 4th.
4th.
Oh, 4th. Sorry.
March 4th.
Sorry.
So that's when you can watch it live. By the way, you're going to want to watch it live because we do some pretty cool stuff, although there are replays. So if you sign up, you can get a replay. But if you watch live, you'll get something that nobody else, the replays won't get.
Yeah, we normally do something cool live on there, but
Yeah.
no matter what, you definitely at least sign up, because even if you can't make the time, you'll get it sent over to you.
Yes. And I have to say, social media for building a fitness business, influencing people properly, whatever, has got to be one of the most misunderstood aspects of building a business.
Agreed.
By far.
Agreed.
They seem it's viewed as like this different thing, and there's all these different rules, and here's how you do it, and they use these examples of people who are terrible examples that just were lucky.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
just popularity and growth focused only.
nobody does it right,
You're
and there's a right way to do it.
You're chasing. Most people are teaching the algorithm hacking stuff
Yes.
to chase, play the trendy music, do the trendy thing for views and attention. And I think what it is that if you get millions of eyeballs on you, even if you aren't good at your job, you're going to make some money. I mean, it's a volume game at that. Now, none of those customers are probably going to return, and you're probably not going to have sustainable business because you suck at your job and you just had this wave of people come through. But if you build it correctly the right way, you attract the right customer, you learn a lot about yourself, your business, you actually are helping people, and you don't need nearly that kind of attention to build a very successful business. Right. And so I do think that there's a lot of social media gurus out there that teach people. And I mean, by the way, we're guilty of hiring them and reading all the stuff. I mean, I went down the rabbit hole of trying to figure this out for many years when we were building this. And a lot of the advice is it's so not true to building a very successful business. It may be true to going viral and getting an extra 10,000 views.
I'll make this argument.
That's not.
I'll make this argument. If you do it right, you're going to build a successful business, and you're more likely to potentially go viral. If you chase virality and you ignore all the other stuff, you're not going to build a successful business. Your odds of going viral are like 1 in a billion.
It's kind of like your chasing health analogy.
That's right.
You chase health, the aesthetics will follow. If you just go for the aesthetics, you just go for the numbers, then it's like
you'll lose both.
Yeah.
Well, there's something there, Adam. Let me think about that.
I'm sure you'll take it and sell it better.
We'll
than
find
I did.
out in the webinar.
And then take my credit.
I just came up with something. No, just kidding. Anyway.
Yeah, make sure. What is the link for that, Doug? We have our
trainerwebinar.com.
Sign up. Yeah. Come see us.
See you guys there.
Hey, this episode is also brought to you by Mind Pump Fitness Coaching. Adam and I teach trainers and coaches on March 4th how to build their social media business. It's totally free. Totally free. Go sign up, trainerwebinar.com. All right, back to the show.
Our first caller is Jackie from Canada.
Hi, Jackie.
Hello,
Hi.
hello.
How can we help you?
Alrighty, so I have a few questions, 3.
Okay, let's hear
All
it.
right,
Let's do it.
Wrap them off.
Okay, so I'm used to doing CrossFit and competitive weightlifting. So about 9 years I've been doing that, but I decided to try the RGB bundle. So it was a really big change for me.
I bet.
I did the intro in phase 1. And then by phase 2, I was just feeling it's not enough. And I was really missing my clean and jerks and snatches. I really enjoy those. And I kind of was missing my Metcons. So I started to add them in phase 2.
Terrible.
And then, yeah. So I was just wondering, because phase 2 only had like 2 days a week. So I kind of switched it to doing 4 days a week. I divided the your guys' work between those 4 days and then added cleans one day, jerks another day, and snatches. Like,
Yeah.
do you think that's too much?
Well, okay, so let's back up for a second. What made you stop CrossFit? And when you say competitive weightlifting, you mean Olympic lifting?
Yeah.
Okay. What made you switch from that? Why did you stop doing that?
Oh, I think variety is good for a person. I think it's good to, maybe some muscles you're lacking because you're always doing the same movements. So just a change. I think it's good. Have overall fitness.
Okay, so you got bored?
No, not bored. Just variety is good for a person.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
true.
Yeah, it is true, and that's a good mindset. Only you started to get variety, then you went right back to what you were doing.
Right. You change it up,
Yeah.
but didn't like to change
So,
it.
so your attitude is right. I think that's a good attitude. Is that variety, novelty, move in and out of different modalities is great. Encourage that for clients to do that. But you switched from one modality and you went back to your way of training, and maybe you didn't go full blown. So in your head, you're thinking you kind of didn't, but you pretty much did. Right. The idea would have been to follow the new programming laid out and allow it to take its course and see how you respond to it and the benefits you get from it. By changing it, you've now bastardized it, and it's no longer.
It's not going to be effective. Yeah. Do you have any specific goals that might help with? Besides doing something different, do you have any like performance goals or physical goals or anything like that?
Well, that kind of goes into like my third question. So, in one of your episodes, you talked about certain numbers for people, like athlete level or whatever. So I'm at those numbers, which I feel is fairly good for myself. I'm 37, and it's kind of like, I don't know where to go next. Just try to keep getting stronger, or I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not too worried about 1 rep maxes anymore, but I don't know.
It sounds like you're mostly motivated by athletic performance, like what you're able to do in the gym. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, okay. So there's a couple ways you could go here. I mean, MAPS Performance Advanced would probably be a program that you would really enjoy. MAPS Powerlift would be another program you would probably really enjoy. And then when it comes to Olympic weightlifting,
dude, Old Time Strength
would be another great program for you. It's very different.
Variety. And I just feel like you're a novelty seeker. And this would be something totally outside of your norm.
Yeah, I like that.
Consider that. But I mean, in terms of your mentality, I understand, like, you're just trying to be overall fit and you enjoy that. You like being challenged a lot, right? No specific goal in terms of, aesthetic or performance, like nothing very specific.
No, but like, certain things. So like your Olympic weightlifting, I don't want to lose that because I've worked really hard to get where my numbers are. And same with, gymnastics, it took me a long time to get my ring muscle ups, and I don't want to just not do them anymore. So I want to somehow include those in there.
I like MAPS Performance Advanced for you because it gives you an opportunity to include some of that stuff.
Days.
Yeah, so skill days will allow you to include those. And then if you want to try something really different that's going to train your body very differently, that I think will contribute to your lifts once you practice them again and get the skill back, is Old Time. I think Justin hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I think Old Time would be a great suggestion to move her way, but I'm hearing the fact that she likes to keep going back to these movements that she doesn't want to lose, which that's Performance Advanced. I mean, it was written for that intention, for literally somebody who likes athletic type of training, has specific skills they don't want to use, they want to include it, but they also understand traditional strength training has tremendous value and they should train that way. MAPS Performance Advanced is the program for you.
We'll send that to you.
And you can cycle through it more than once, and you can change what those lifts are. So maybe you're focusing on the rings and the snatch at one time you go through it, and then the next time you go through it, your muscle ups and something else you're into. Like,
totally. So
there's definitely ways for you to incorporate these skills that you enjoy and you don't want to lose, while also following good program. But the thing that people get where they make a mistake with our programs is they add or change things, and it's like it no longer becomes great programming once you start to change and changing it by adding stuff to it. It's like if you really understand programming, you can take some things out and replace it if you know what you're doing.
Exactly.
But very few people know how to do that, and instead what they end up doing is just add what they want more of, and then now you took great programming to subpar programming or terrible programming.
Well, and two, just as like a caveat, I just want to reiterate that fatigue is the enemy of skill. And so if you're, consuming your thoughts around doing metcons and doing like circuit style, you're not improving your skill. So that's what you're going to experience in MAPS Performance Advanced is we're going to hyper focus on these skills, and you're going to rotate that around. So you focus on those. Even if it's endurance, we want to focus on endurance exclusively for a block, and just try to do that for a while. I know it's addictive because it's hard, but hard doesn't always mean better.
Your Performance Advanced will give you room to add. It was created specifically for people to be able to add things that they want to add. It's in the programming, so we'll send that to you. And then just some side advice. You're young, you're very strong. If you're in the advanced level of the how we listed people's strength levels. If you want to keep doing this for the rest of your life, I think your best bet is to train in different modalities exclusively. Yeah. Like I'm going to do a bout of powerlifting. I'm going to do a bout of Olympic lifting. I'm going to do a bout of bodybuilding. I'm going to do a bout of, body weight style training. That's going to be, if that's how you enjoy, if you enjoy expressing your body physically and in that variety, and you just really enjoy performing in different ways, then you should do blocks of 3 months at a time in different modalities. And over the years, you're going to have this really well-rounded ability to do lots of different things. That would be the way to do it.
And you won't lose those skills.
No.
If you dip in and out for 3 months, especially when the 3 months is strength training and doing other pursuits that are fitness related, and maybe like your max snatch
it'll go down
goes down by 10%, but then you get 15% when you go back to it. So in the net result is you still get better in those things. So there's a lot of value in moving in and out of these modalities and staying away from it for a few months and then coming back to it. You're not going to get worse or lose, especially, like I said, you're replacing with other good programs.
Someone like you, the programs you would probably enjoy: Performance Advanced, MAPS Powerlift, MAPS Strong, MAPS OCR, all very different.
And old time.
MAPS Old Time, all very different. And they'll all express your body's strength and performance in different ways. And they're all about 3-month blocks. And I love people like you because you really love fitness for fitness, which is great. Mm-hmm. So moving in and out of these different styles, modalities, a little bit of bodybuilding, a little bit of old time strength, a little bit of strongman style training. I mean, it's going to be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. And over the years, you'll get really good at a lot of different things.
But trust the process. Trust the process. I mean, I don't know how long you've been listening to us for, but if you trust that we know what we're doing, then trust that we know that this is how you should follow the program laid out. And don't make the mistake that so many fitness nuts do, which is just pile on stuff to the program.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Like, I know you guys say 3 months at a time, but could you do like less than that? Do 2 months of your program and then go back to just doing my snatches and clean for a little bit, even for a few weeks, and then jump back in. And
you can't. How long have you been working out for, Jackie?
Like the Olympic lifting and CrossFit, probably 9 years at least. And then, I went to the gym before that. And
you okay.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Yes, you can. I think you know your body well enough to where you could kind of do that. Just don't overdo it. That's the one place people like you tend to veer towards, is like Adam said, what I want to lose what I'm like, I did endurance and I have all this endurance. I want to train for strength, but I don't want to lose the endurance. So you just add on top of it. And then, now you're just burning yourself out type of deal.
And eventually you'll learn this lesson one way or the other. Either you'll decide that, okay, this is the best way for me, or your body will let you know.
Yeah. And I do say, like, when I did your guys' like the phase 1, I definitely, when I went to go do, my back squat or something, because I don't usually do high reps, like 12 to 15, I never do that. So when I went back and did, just a 2-rep max, I definitely felt way better. Like it was just different.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. No, you're good. Somebody with your experience, you'll be fine moving in and out. Just don't slap things on top of things.
We'll
and try
have,
and do everything.
we'll have Doug send Performance Advanced because I think that's the one that fits you best right now. And then look into those other ones that Sal talked about.
Yep.
And then just the other question.
Yep.
So when it comes to trigger sessions, I did do them, but I just, maybe because, I don't know, just my background in fitness, like they're a little bit lacking maybe, or maybe I just want to try doing other things.
Yeah.
So I was asked, like, can I do just different body weight movements, like handstand push-ups or
if you so trigger sessions, the way that they're designed are more bodybuilding, hypertrophy focused. They're low intensity.
They're more to facilitate recovery than they are for you to.
It's like get a little bit of a pump. Someone like you know what your best time spent would be on those days would be mobility.
Walking and mobility.
Walking and mobility.
Yeah.
Like practice mobility on those days would serve you way better than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll try. Like, I do like your program. Like I did like it. It was different. So I just didn't want to lose what I've worked so hard to get good at.
How long have you been listening to us,
Totally.
Jackie, for? When did you find the podcast?
Maybe like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you make up a very small percentage of individuals who work out. So a lot of what we communicate is to other people. But someone like you, I really think you would find a lot of value and enjoyment by doing what we said, where you're focusing kind of on different skills, different modalities for certain periods of time, because you enjoy. It sounds like you enjoy fitness for the fitness part of it, just for the performance part of it, which is great.
It's rad. Yeah. Keep it
Like
going. Let's just get smarter, and let's do a lot more programs.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll definitely try I didn't go into the performance one. It was my next one to go into, but then, like you said, old habits, I was like, well, I'll just go back to my CrossFit Metcons.
No, Performance Advanced, the programming's different, and you'll have space to add those lifts that you want to do so badly.
Yeah. Well, they're just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Face
And
awesome.
one other thing, because I listened to the podcast this morning about the creatine. So, like, if I eat enough protein,
No.
do I need to take
Yes.
creatine?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Are you eating 280 grams of protein? Probably not. Yeah. You'll benefit from creatine regardless.
Yeah. Like I definitely get like 170 grams of protein a day.
I think a better way to say it, I don't think you need it. I think you will see benefits from it if you took it. That's what we think. So it's not if you're eating that much meat, you're not deficient in creatine. But if you want to see extra benefits, especially someone who sounds like they're performance driven, you're going to see benefits from supplementing with creatine. Absolutely.
Take 5 grams a day, and you'll know within 2 or 3 weeks if it's giving you benefit.
Well, like I have been taking it probably for, I don't know, a month and a half at least, maybe 2 months now. So
Okay, good.
I thought I'd try it. I don't know.
Aside from performance benefits, there's cognitive benefits and health benefits as well. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty.
Thank you.
That's
Cool.
good.
All right,
Thank you guys.
All right.
much.
Party
You got
on.
it. Yeah, I've had trainers like this. That work
I don't
for
know,
me.
bro. I smell something else.
Yeah, like what?
Maybe escapism. Maybe you got to be constantly moving and doing something.
Oh, duh.
I mean, we didn't get
Yeah.
we didn't get personal with her and what's going on in the rest of her life and stuff like that. It'd be interesting to hear more.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, no real clarity on the goals or what she wants from the exercising, or even what she really,
Yeah.
But it can't even do trigger sessions because it's not enough on top of already adding to the program. I don't know. Somebody smells like running from something, or this is a way for me to escape,
It's
distract.
a coping thing. But yeah, she's been doing this for how long? Was it 9 years? she
9
said?
plus.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long time to be doing a modality, and getting to the point where I can kind of understand, like, she's good at certain movements like that. But now I was looking for something different that's a change, and you have to change. That's
Yep.
the requirement here as we're going through something to allow your body to really experience it. And so it's just to get into that mental shift is everything.
Well,
to her.
and she's creeping up on that age where the lesson's going to be learned.
Exactly.
It's going whether
Tough love is necessary.
Yeah, either it goes, this rings a bell, or she decides to really change some things up, or real soon here, her body will let her know.
You know what the question would have been? When's the last time you took 2 weeks off?
I know that
would have been the question.
Yes, and
Right.
I smell that, bro.
Yeah. Because the answer to that would probably be never.
Yeah. And then to me, it's like, honestly, which I wish we would have done that a little bit deeper with her, because she sounds like that she needs to do more walking, or maybe a MAPS 15 program for a little while would be a really good movement for her. But very difficult, because she couldn't even move to MAPS Anabolic without adding a bunch of stuff to it. So it's like, I know we gave her a program that will kind of give her the desire she wants, but to me, I smell there's something deeper there to look into.
Sure.
Our next caller is Tyler from Ohio.
What's going
What's
on,
up,
Tyler?
How can we help you?
Well, I'm going to get right into it to honor your guys' time. So it's been kind of a long journey for me as in the fitness world. I got into running during COVID, and that quickly escalated into me doing a half marathon, and then was like, sure, I'll do a 50K.
Wow,
That escalated fast.
Fast. And I get really fixated on things when I do them. So I started listening to other experts in the field, decided I'd try veganism out, which was probably one of the hardest things I've done. But I thought, from what I learned, it was a clean, low inflammatory fuel and energy source. But after about 2 years of doing that, I was feeling depleted. I weighed about 144 pounds. Now, granted, that's probably because I was trying to be efficient and a endurance athlete. But I started to change my tune when I was like low libido, low energy, was constantly hangry, and was like, something has to change. So on my 30th birthday, I went and I bought a whole chicken and I spatchcocked it, and I got some pasture-raised sausage and butter.
Good for you.
And my wife came home and I was frying bananas in butter, and she was like, what happened?
You tell her I woke up.
Yeah. This is everything to me. Why have I not been eating meat the past 2 years? So then I started learning about strength training and was like, hey, I'm 30 now. Like, I kind of missed the whole like putting on muscle window that they say is optimal. But I quickly put on, about 20 pounds. I'm now fluctuating between like 166 and 170. I say I'm on a bulk, but I seem to have an insatiable hunger, so I'm constantly eating. And I guess my question is, so I've started strength training. I'm following a program by Jeff Nippard right now that was gifted to me. It's a 5-day PPL split. So sometimes I get there 5 days a week, sometimes I don't. And I'm trying to figure out, is my programming too intense? Because when I was running every day. So I kind of transitioned into now lifting, and I've been reading, like hitting each muscle group twice a week is really good, especially those muscle groups that recover faster can be hit more. So that's kind of how I've been going about doing it, and like using ChatGPT to query when I have questions. So is my programming too intense? And then also, how do I figure out like my ideal body weight and like where I should be as far as there? It seems like I've been like stuck at like 166, 170. And how do I figure out like what that goal is or should be before I surpass, like, my wife's worried I'm going to get too jacked.
She's worried about that.
I love that.
Are you, how long have you been following that new program?
So I'm just about to enter the last 5 weeks. So I've been following it for a little under 2 months.
Okay. And
MAPS Anabolic's a program for him.
For sure. Okay, but let's back up though. Let's talk about changes in performance, muscle. Have you seen any changes in strength?
Also, are you still running, or did you get rid of it
Yeah,
completely?
definitely need to know the running schedule.
I have time to run with like job, family stuff, and like lifting. So it's just strictly been lifting.
Okay.
That's
Cool.
good.
That's good.
What about any strength gains during that period of time, or any changes in anything?
I could barely bench 130. Like, I couldn't bench 135. Now I'm able to like put up 135 for at least like 8 reps.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good.
Doing good.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Yeah.
You're doing good, but I don't think it's the ideal program for you, just so you know. You said something really key, or 2 things. One, we tend to recommend most people a full body routine is superior, and people can try and make the arguments for why they're close, right? In a perfect setting where we measure and track everything, and the studies will show they're pretty much the same. But what it plays a huge role for me with clients was always what you said right away, which is, when I get to the gym, or when I get there most times, and that's where splits suck, is unless you're somebody who never misses the gym and you always hit that split every single week, it's good. But most people aren't like that. Most people have a day or 2, or they get sick every once in a while, or they have a good week, and that's why a full body 3-day-a-week type of routine is beautiful. And if you on your extra days, go for your walks or do some mobility work, or our trigger sessions that we recommend in Anabolic are good for you. But if you missed a day of MAPS Anabolic, you're not going to go backwards at all, because you still got 2 days of full body training.
Before you were following the program you're following now, what were you doing for strength training?
He wasn't doing anything.
Nothing?
So I kind of slowly started to incorporate some like band work, some resistance bands.
Okay.
Because I was having some injuries with running. And when I started strength training, those injuries kind of worked themselves out. So then I was like, there's something to the strength training. And that was like the start of my slow transition out of like endurance, vegan, and all of that.
Okay. And then do you know what your protein intake is right now, your calories?
Yeah. So I'm shooting to get around 3,000 calories every day. And I try and get between 160 and 180 grams of protein.
Good.
You're good.
You're doing good.
Here's what you're going to do. Quit that program and start MAPS Anabolic. Do the 3-day-a-week version. Continue with your diet. Your strength gains will explode.
Yeah. That's it. Other than that, you're doing pretty good. And by the way, Tyler, what you're doing isn't bad by any means. You obviously, and the results are showing that. Yeah. We see the picture of your physique. You look good. You've gained strength. So the programming isn't bad. It's that what we're going to send you is better for you. Yeah. And you're going to see more results.
Just so you know, Jeff Nippard's not bad. It's just there are coaches and trainers who base all of their advice on studies. Then there's coaches and trainers that know studies, but also have decades of experience training real people. That's the information you want to get. Jeff Nippard he doesn't have experience training lots of everyday people. He's a studies guy. He trains himself. So his programming is going to be based off what the study says. Hit a body part twice a week. The sets need to be 12 to 15 per week. Muscle groups like this, that, and the other. But we've trained lots and lots of everyday people, and we understand the nuances. Remember, studies are done on college-age males. Things tend to be controlled. It's not. It doesn't. There's value there.
It's not perfect,
but it doesn't. Like MAPS Anabolic. You follow the 3-day-a-week version on that. Keep your calories, your protein where they're at. You should see some significant strength gains with it.
Sweet. Yeah, that was like I would miss a day and be like, all right, I'm going to hit legs and upper body today.
Right.
And I would just because I'm like I gotta be there. I'm getting up at 4:30. Make it happen.
You got to make up for it. Yeah.
That's why I'm not a fan of the split for most people. And it doesn't mean that I don't ever once in a while run a split or I think it's bad. It just is. Right. For most people, a full body routine 3 days a week is just the superior way of programming. Totally. And just based off what you said,
you don't have to do a full body of legs either.
You don't need to. You don't need to change anything. We're just going to switch your programming, and I guarantee you're going to see strength gains, and you're going to be happy with less days inside the gym too. So
what about, I definitely feel, at least I think I'm recovering well. Sometimes my sleep habits could be better. I'm sure you guys know, being married, like sometimes your spouse wants to stay up or things like that. But I noticed my HRV at night is like pretty low, significant. It's like in the 30s usually, which I just started tracking. So that's a relatively new metric.
So what have you heard us talk about HRV and like what we like even better than HRV?
No, I don't think I've heard that.
Okay, so here's another good example of studies and cool tech and like, again, with experienced guys, right? Okay, HRV stuff is cool. We've all played with it, used the tools. A better way to do it, and even simpler, is what do they call diometers?
Yeah.
The diometers, which is just a grip strength test. Yeah. And for a week, okay, track what your numbers are so you get an idea of what peak grip strength looks like for you and what maybe a lower day is. And when you, right before you go to lift, squeeze that sucker and measure what it says and allow that to dictate your intensity. If you get up in the morning and you get your best squeeze you ever gotten, guess what? That's the day to go rip that gym. You're feeling your CNS is firing on all cylinders. You probably got great rest. You're ready to go. If it's your lowest you've scored ever, then you know like, oh, I need to really back off the intensity. If it's somewhere in the middle, moderate intensity. That right there, we have found is far more accurate to the individual with less air involved, like the HRV type tools.
It's a dynamometer, is what it's called. And now, by the way, the other thing is just, are you getting stronger? You're getting stronger. You're moving in the right direction. You seem like someone that might be prone to overthinking things a little bit. Am I hitting the nail on the head?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're probably better off not measuring so many things. You're probably better off just like, am I getting stronger in the gym? And then so I'm good.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. I mean, I haven't even really been tracking like I don't write down like how much I'm lifting from week to week. I just kind of like throw weight on, and I kind of in my warm-ups I gauge where I'm at. Yeah. And then on that's like how much more I put on or take off.
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah. I like that.
I mean, Tyler, you're doing a good job. I mean, we're definitely splitting hairs here by nitpicking what you're doing. If anybody has moved their physique, the amount you have in the period of time that you have, and you've moved away from running, you've picked up protein and meat, you're hitting your protein targets, you've gotten that strong on the bench in that short of a period of time, you're doing good. Yep. You really are. Sweet. Like, yeah, you're doing really good. And I think the biggest thing that, like, when we talk about what will move the needle the most with us from just hearing you right now, it's a little bit better programming. I think that you'll benefit from the 3-day week full body routine and MAPS Anabolic. I think that by itself will move the needle more than probably any other thing that we could talk about. That's based off what you've told us. Obviously, if you said something like, I never get sleep, and there was this obvious thing that we could fix or help you, but it sounds like you're pretty good about paying attention to all those things. The biggest thing would be, I think, a little bit better programming for you for those days when you might miss a gym workout. This is more ideal.
Okay. And then about how long are those workouts? Usually?
About an hour.
About an hour.
Oh, sweet. That's perfect. Mm-hmm. If I have time, I have one more question.
Sure.
So my wife keeps encouraging me and is like kind of nagging me about like looking into becoming a trainer. And I've like talked to people from like the different companies out there, like NASM and stuff like that. But I think the thing that gets me tripped up is like wanting to be able to provide, but also do something that I'm passionate about. And like training doesn't necessarily feel like that. But then when I look at you guys who have like built a successful like business and venture, like it gives me hope, but I'm still like, yeah, but I got to pay the bills.
You can do very well as a trainer and a coach, very well. And it's very rewarding. The problem is there isn't a lot of coaching and training for coaches and trainers. And so there's a high turnover rate, but the ones that figure it out do very well. So the trainers that work for me, the trainers that work for Adam, the trainers that work for Justin, they did very well because we taught them.
Yep.
We coached them. We trained them. We have a course. We actually have a course. It's actually worth continuing education credits on national certifications as well. So it's formally accepted. But we have a course, and what it focuses on how to build your business.
This is the business part.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which I would recommend, like you were already looking into NASM. I think NASM is a great foundation, like to get you started when it comes to assessing clients, how to build the programming for them, get them started.
Yeah. It's your scaffolding for everything.
Yeah, one of the best all-around certifications. Okay, so I love that for a base. Then the very next thing after that, I love ours because ours is more heavily focused on the business. It's like now you have the tools to go help 99% of the people you'll ever meet. Now let us show you how you take that knowledge and actually apply it to make money and be successful. And that we really weren't trying to compete with NASM and AFAA and NCSF. Like we were trying to fill the gap. We saw a lot of national certs out there that you could argue what science you like better or what focuses on nutrition or more programming. There's a lot that are great out there and we have a lot to say about all of them. But nobody's done a really good job of helping trainers take that information and now go make money with it. And so that was really what we wanted to do. And we took a lot of pride in building what we think is probably the best, most robust certification course out there for trainers to make more money.
Tyler, can I have someone call you today and just kind of ask you more, spend some time with you on the phone, ask you more personal questions and kind of break down, okay, what would this look like if you were to turn this into a career? Because we have people that work for us and that's what they do.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Cool. Done. All right. Yeah. So here, why don't you send in your phone number to Doug or whoever you emailed, and I'll make sure somebody reaches out to you today.
Sweet. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Cool.
You got it, man.
Right on,
and
Tyler.
we'll send you Maps Anabolic. That'll be the program to follow.
Yep.
Anabolic. Got it.
We got you.
And I'm not going to get, my wife's worried I'm going to get too swole.
Yeah, don't worry. That is the easiest thing in the world to lose. So
yeah.
Well, he was like, we should get ice cream. And I'm like, honey, I don't think we really need more ice cream. She's like, but like, think about it. It's heavy cream and milk. It's perfect for your bulk.
She's awesome.
She would close me on that one. I'm close.
You're right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, no, you'll be good, bro. You're like I said, we saw the pictures. You're doing great right now. I think this is a little tweak we can give you, then you're going to see even more results. And so keep heading the way you are.
Sweet. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all that you do. And yeah, this was great.
All right, got it, man. Good stuff.
You have Kyle call him.
There is some, most programming out there is garbage. That's just true. But there is some out there that's based on data and science and is sound from that standpoint. But it's really hard. It's really hard to find a trainer or a coach or a strength coach that has both, because experience takes a long time. Yeah. And then of course the education part, right? But when you combine the two, Joe DeFranco is a great example of this.
Yeah.
All the education,
amazing,
plus decades of training athletes. And so what you're going to get is the most accurate, applicable programming advice, especially when he's speaking to an individual. And there's people out there like Brett Contreras does a good job like this. Yep. Education plus lots of experience.
Yeah.
But if you just get one side and not the other, then it starts to get a little muddy. Although if I had to pick between studies and experience, I'll pick experience all day long.
Well, yeah,
it's more valuable.
Because you know why? Because over years, decades of training people, even if you didn't have the science,
you figure it out because you start to pick up on patterns. And that's all you need to be good at is recognizing. Oh,
becomes predictable.
Yes,
you've seen it.
And so I do think that weighs more. And so these, I mean, we get this a lot in our space. These trainers that are young but they're smart. They went through their schooling and they can argue the studies. They can argue the studies. That's great. And I think it's very, very valuable to know that information. But there's something to be said about training, because was exactly what he said is one of the main reasons why I love a full body over a split.
Totally.
It's not what the studies say.
Nope.
It's that most people don't make it to the gym 5 days a week, every single week.
It works better in the real world for most people.
Yeah.
Let's see how it plays out.
Also, the January special is here. We have 4 workout program bundles: the new to weightlifting bundle, the body transformation bundle, the New Year extreme intensity bundle, and the Body Transformation Bundle 2.0. Every single one of those workout program bundles is $300 off retail. It's a massive sale. If you're interested, go to mapsjanuary.com. All right, back to the show.
Our next caller is Alais from Australia.
Alais, how are you doing? How can we help you?
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Yeah. We can for now, yes.
Okay. I'm just going to read my question. There's been some updates since then, but I'll read it and we can go from there. So I had been told a couple of times that I'm hypermobile. I'd always thought that was maybe the case because I was incredibly flexible, but after reading more into how hypermobility can affect people, it's made me want to know more about how I can make sure I'm doing the right thing. And my question is, could my hypermobility be the reason that I've been so slow with getting gains after being really consistent for so many years? Or would that be other factors like maybe restricting food, etc.? I have MAPS Anabolic, Performance, and Aesthetic. When I wrote this, I said I hadn't completed any of them yet. I have nearly completed MAPS Anabolic. have really struggled over the past couple of years to get any real results unless it's extremely restrictive in terms of losing weight. So I'd love to know your advice on anything I can to make sure I'm optimizing anything I can do for someone with hypermobility, and I'm not working against my body. Just for a bit of background, I have been someone that sort of has struggled since I was young with yo-yo dieting, all that kind of stuff. But for the last probably now 6 to 7 years, I've been extremely consistent with strength training, like protein, not tracking at the moment. We'll get to that. But yeah, is that? I'll stop there and then I'll give you a bit more information.
Okay, so I have 2 questions for you. The first one is, who diagnosed you with hypermobility? And then the second question, I think you kind of answered. The second part is, you are hitting adequate protein and calories now, correct?
Yeah, so I could probably count on one hand in the last 5 years how many times I haven't hit at least 140 grams of protein.
Okay, good.
So, and who diagnosed me? So, 2 different people that when I went to get a remedial massage, 2 different people that were doing it said that to me.
Okay. So hypermobility is characterized by long ranges of motion, like really, really flexible, lack of stability, lack of strength, lack of stability, so kind of lax, and sometimes repeated injury or pain in certain joints like the hips.
Yep.
Does that character? Does that you?
I don't get pain, but I do sort of get a bit unstable in some exercises, some single leg exercises. I don't get pain or injuries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hypermobility usually is a result of a central nervous system that isn't firing effectively and controlling the muscles effectively, for lack of a better term.
Which can affect her ability muscle.
Which will affect your ability to build muscle. It can cause higher risk of things like injury. And the way you train with hypermobility is a little bit different. I've trained a couple clients with hypermobility. You don't do full range of motion. You stop yourself short of your deepest squat.
Isometrics.
And you pause at the bottom and hold. And you pause halfway up and you hold. You slow the reps down. You try to intensify the connection, and you use isometrics. Isometrics are your best friend. So the way it would look would be like, let's imagine you're doing a barbell squat. And let's say you could just sit all the way down because you're so flexible. Well, I wouldn't have you sit all the way down. I'd stop you maybe 5 or 6 inches above that, and then I'd hold that position. So I'd squat down, I'd stop at the bottom for 10 seconds, but don't just hold the weight, just hold the position, but rather tense every muscle. Tense your upper back, squeeze the bar, squeeze your calves, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your quads, and make it a really, really intense squeeze, and then come up, take a couple breaths, and then repeat that again. And you can do that at different portions of the reps. Halfway up, almost all the way at the bottom, or almost all the way at the top.
By the way, dramatically reduce the weight when you do this.
Yes.
Because the reps are so the tempo is so slow and you're intensifying it, it doesn't take much weight. So whatever you're used to doing, cut that in half.
No, you have to teach what you're doing is you're trying to train your central nervous system to connect and fire.
Yeah.
So
needs to recruit and respond.
Right. Other than that, all the exercises remain the same so long as you can do them. But the goal is, can I connect to every quarter inch of this exercise? Do I feel tight in every part of my body as I'm doing this? Do I feel stable and strong? And the way you do that again is you find those places and you pause and you tighten up and tense up. That's the way that you get better at this. And as you do that, you'll get stronger through your central nervous system, and then that'll contribute to things like muscle
build
gain.
Muscle for sure if you do that approach.
That's right.
And then have you intentionally done a bulk before, or do you try and hit your protein intake, but then you also kind of restrict calories?
So just after, just a little bit more information. So in 2023, I sort of had the biggest results in terms of got down to, I don't know the exact amount, but I would say probably 17% body fat, and I did a successful reverse diet, and that was really good. I even went on a trip for a month and didn't really put on any weight, which was a huge win, because historically I would restrict, go on holiday, put on lots of weight, and the cycle would just never end. So that was good. And then I kind of all of a sudden just put on weight again really easily later that year. And no, even though I was still extremely consistent, I'm someone who go to the gym because I love it. It's not even out of, pure aesthetics. I just love it. And I'll get up at 5 a.m. every day to go because, and also the same with food. Like, I just love health. I love healthy food. I don't eat processed food, all of that kind of thing. So then I was going in this cycle again, and I couldn't understand why. So when I wrote this question, that was at the end of, it was only about a 2.5, 3 month bulk, but even then I did feel like I was getting stronger, but I didn't feel like anything was changing. But this might help, this next bit of information. So shout out to Megan Abbott and her team. I found her through one of the Mind Pump pages. I'm in all of the pages. I'm in the forum and then the 2 other free ones, the holistic health ones. Found her. I had already been working with a functional specialist here because I don't get a regular cycle, and I haven't for 5 years. She has now discovered I've got really high levels of mold and heavy metals in my system, which sort of brings me to my next spot. Would that be why I am struggling with the weight gain and the muscle gain?
Yes, that's a big factor.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sort of, she said the same thing, and that sort of gave me a bit of peace because out of everyone I know, I'm the most consistent, the most committed to health and fitness, and it's like I was going backwards. I was putting on weight last year, like anything I did just wouldn't help. But she's just given me that diagnosis just before Christmas, and we're starting a pretty intense protocol next month. So in terms of training, I've sort of had to scale that back. Basically, I did start anabolic, and I was pretty much done. But I mean, she said my body's not even absorbing any nutrients, so no wonder nothing's helping.
Yep.
So I guess my point is the next kind of 6 to 8 months are going to be purely spent on healing, getting that all done. Getting the mold out of my system, getting my gut right, getting my hormones right. But just to confirm, is that
Yes.
Oh, yes.
That's major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, that'll affect your central
You're
nervous
going to
system.
unlock.
And by the way, that's always as a coach and a trainer, when you have a client like you who's giving you this feedback, Adam, I'm not missing the gym. Adam, I'm all whole foods. Adam, I'm hitting my protein intake. Yet somehow I'm magically putting bad weight on. What is and you're checking all the boxes like right away as a trainer. To look into those things. It's like, let's go get our blood work done. Let's go check the gut. Let's go see, because there's something probably else happening. If I've got a client who can consistently report to me the things that you were just saying to us that you're doing, that makes total sense. Yeah. And to me it would be obvious something else is going on here if she's telling me all this and she's being honest and she's seeing this. There's got to be something else, and that will do it.
And I'm assuming you've tested your environment, your home and stuff for these things, because you could have mold and metal toxicity because of your environment.
So I think kind of going back to when my issues first started, it was when I was still living in New Zealand at uni, and it was really damp houses and stuff. So what she thinks, because since then I've moved multiple times and my issues have kind of just gotten worse. So she thinks that it's happened back when I was living in those places for years at a time, and now it's congregated in my gut.
That could be true. I would still test where you're living because mold can travel with you. Mm-hmm. So you could bring it with your clothes or a pillow, and So I would still test your environment. I had to deal with this as well. But the detox process, I'm sure you can take chelating compounds and sauna and stuff like that. Once you get that out of your body, it's going to feel so different. Yeah.
Okay. And so I guess what would I kind of do? I mean, I'm committed to it was hard for me to, I'm doing 30-minute sessions a week purely for mental health, but I'm not even really pushing.
Mouse 15.
Sorry, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost you for a second.
We lost you, but I think I know what you're at. You're asking about the training, right? What you should do lifting wise.
Yeah.
Maps 15 is where I'd put you.
Yeah, do Maps 15 in that program. There's the advanced version, which is just with free weights. Do that one.
Okay. Yeah.
It'll give you something.
And sorry.
I was just going to tell you that it'll give you something to do every day. The advanced
Slow
version's about
volume,
20 minutes.
The intensity just
It's
right.
low enough volume that you're not going to lose any muscle. You'll be able to maintain what you have right now. It'll give you something to do, but you're not pushing the body and flirting with overtraining.
Okay. And so when I sort of come out of this process, which I'm thinking might be in 6 or so months, what would be the best approach to kind of ramp back up to?
If you stay with 15
Would you
through this
suggest doing like a symmetry or?
That's fine.
Yeah, symmetry would be great, especially since you have hypermobility. So if protocol would look like this for me, 15, so long as that's fine and we don't have any adverse effects from that and we'll have to scale back from that. But most likely 15 will be fine while you go through the process. When you come out of it, symmetry or anabolic is a great program to go into. And then from there, you're off and running.
Okay. And I know I kind of just got straight into things at the start. I was a bit nervous, but thank you so much. I've literally been listening to you for probably 6 or 7 years now, and I send it to all of my friends. Like every time I see a new episode come out, I'm so excited. So thank you. And the groups on Facebook are incredibly helpful. They've helped me to get so much help. And so, yeah, like I said, I was working with a specialist here for so long and they couldn't figure out anything. And I had one 30-minute free call with Megan's team and they gave me more answers than I'd ever had. So,
Love that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I love
You got it.
And you've given me a lot of peace.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
We appreciate the support.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elise.
All right.
Have you guys, you've had clients that were hypermobile, right?
Mhm.
It's pretty wild.
It is.
The first time I trained someone like that, because you're taught, like most people, like, oh, deep range of motion, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Then they're just.
They look like a baby deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was like, oh, what are we going to do here? And we
Just
stop all the reps
sustaining
short.
poses was difficult.
And it made a huge difference in her stability. It was incredible. But yeah, hypermobility can lead to injury. I mean, you're unstable.
Yep.
And injury rates can be quite high with people like that.
Man, I'm just so excited, and just for the audience that this is why we created all those free forums.
Yeah.
So cool to hear somebody that knows this much and has been listening to this and has been doing a lot of the right things. That was something that ended up helping her that much. So that's awesome.
Totally.
Our next caller is Kaylin from Arizona.
Hi, Kaylin.
Hello.
How can we help you?
Wow. Hey, you guys. First of all, I just have to thank you like everybody does. Your content is absolutely amazing. You definitely changed my life in multiple ways. 3.5 years ago, I was one of many women who thought that 12 to 1,400 calories was appropriate, which had me stuck for a really long time. So again, just want to thank you for your content. Sal, I want to let you know, I love hearing your journey as a new Christian. It's amazing. Adam and Justin and Doug, you guys are all amazing as well. I love what each one of you brings to this podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Super excited to be here. Super nervous too. So I'm just going to go ahead and read my email.
Go for it.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. So I found you all in March of 2022, and I've been listening every day since. You guys changed my life and inspired me to get back into coaching again. I'm wrapping up my level 1 nutrition cert with NCI, and I did go ahead and purchase all their courses so that it will help me start my online coaching business. However, I am struggling with my own personal fitness. I'm 51 years old, 5'5". Update now, I'm about 174 pounds, about 30% body fat. And so I'm a health and fitness fanatic, but being 51 years old, I've been hit by the perimenopause train. I've been working with a naturopath doctor for about 4 years now, and hormones are balanced as well as they could be. Being perimenopausal. I'm on HRT. I eat cleaner than everyone I know. I track my calories, my protein, my macros. I'm following all your programs. I've done anabolic a few times, performance, symmetry a few times, aesthetic, anabolic, anabolic advanced, sorry, MAPS 15, and most recently MAPS Powerlift. And sorry, my screensaver just went blank. So here's a little bit of background. So 3 years ago, I started gaining weight rapidly, like 35 pounds in 6 months. This was very devastating for me. I shed many tears on a weekly basis. Thankfully, my husband was understanding and supportive, but this was primarily due to leaving my boot camp HIIT coaching job and going to a mostly sedentary office job. Thankfully, through you, I learned that I had been overtraining and under eating for all those years I was there, 5+. I heard about you guys talking about reverse dieting. So I took myself from about 1,500 calories per day up to 2,600 a day over the course of about 3 months. Amazingly, I only gained a few pounds. Wow. I felt really, really good.
Excellent.
All my lifts improved. I was able to take my bench 1 rep max from 105 to 135. My squat from 185 to 215, and my deadlift from 185 to 225. I stayed at 2,500 for about 2 months and then cut down to 1,800 to 2,000 without any weight loss or inches lost. I've reversed and cut about 3 times now and still haven't lost any weight or body fat. The only times I've lost weight was I did another food sensitivity test that then revealed that I had a sensitivity to eggs, in addition to dairy and gluten, which I already knew of. So once I cut out the eggs, I was able to lose 7 pounds, I guess, of inflammation. The second time was through Dr. Cabral's 20-day detox. Again, something I learned from you guys. I lost 7 pounds with that. This past July, my hormones just kind of went crazy. All of a sudden, I put on some of my waist, along with some other perimenopause symptoms like anxiety, which was something new. My naturopath is at a loss as to why I can't lose the body fat. We did some NAD injections for 5 weeks in a row and still nothing. He suggested going on semaglutide to help me get me on that like little set point. I've been very resistant to that, but also kind of intrigued after hearing what Dr. Tina had to say on the subject. But I trust you guys and wanted to see what you guys had for me. Also, I just kind of want to look like a trainer and not like I need to hire one.
Okay, I don't know if I would do GLP-1 with you.
Have you when you do your cuts? Where do you go down to with your calories?
Probably right around that 1,800 to 1,900 mark, and if I don't see anything, then I'll take it down from there. I've gone as low as 1,600 and still didn't see anything.
And how long do you stay at the 1,600 where you don't see anything?
I did that for a couple months.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is where I would. Have you done heavy metals testing, mold toxicity? Have you done parasite testing? Have you looked to see if there's anything else happening? Yeah,
I have not done any of that yet. My next, I guess, avenue with my doctor was going to be like some gut testing, like you mentioned, the parasites, because I feel like my gut definitely could be an issue.
Yeah. I also this, and I know you've experienced this too. When somebody who has been chronically overtraining and undereating for such a long period of time, their body adapts so fast to that low calorie, and they just don't seem to get the same response that the average person who builds their calories up and then cuts it down. And sometimes it just takes a longer period of time of feed. I mean, when you reverse dieted, those results are phenomenal. The fact that you were able to go from 1,800 to 2,600 calories, only see a few pounds on the scale, see strength gains go across the board, tells me that's your body finally like thanking you, going, thank you for giving me what I need, and probably should just kind of stayed there for a while. Because, and to me, what would be that signal was if you were a client and you said, Adam, I just want to cut for a little bit, and then we did, and then I saw the way your body responded. I'd say, listen, your body it ain't ready for that yet. It ain't ready to go right back to that again. It wants to be taken care of and fed and build strength and build muscle for longer before we dabble in these cuts, because you become so resilient to low calorie and high intensity training for so long that it just doesn't, it's not novel to your body. Your body's like, oh yeah, I know what goes on here. Let's get used to this. And so it needs a longer period of time.
Feeling safe.
Yeah.
That's the way
That's if nothing else is going on, right? If you've done the testing and there's no gut stuff or nothing going on with that, hormones are balanced, then the next thing I would say is we just probably should stay in a higher calorie and strength train for longer.
When you said that your hormones went crazy, was it just out of the blue?
It felt like it was out of the blue. All of a sudden, I was experiencing anxiety, which is, I mean, I'm thankful I've really never experienced that in the past. So all of a sudden, I had this anxiety out of nowhere, and I noticed my clothes getting tighter. So I hopped up on the scale and was shocked that it was 7 pounds up. And then I did some measurements, and it was thicker in the waist as well.
What's your lifestyle like? Do you have a high stress job?
Not really. I mean, it's been a little stressful the last, I don't know, handful of months, but I mean, really, it's not a high stress job.
Okay.
Kind of my daily schedule. I try to be intentional about my sleep as well. Just again, from learning from you guys, that sleep is super important. I try to go to bed between 8:30 and 9 because I do have to get up early. I like to work out in the morning. That's really my only opportunity to. So I hit the gym at 4:30 in the morning. I'm there for an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. I get to work just after 7, get home just after 5, have a little bit of time to do dinner and wind down, and then that's my day.
Yeah, step number 1, I would get tested for heavy metal, mold. I would get gut health testing, parasites. Look and see if you can find parasites. The reason why I'm saying that is when you see big fluctuations in weight out of nowhere, or you do a detox, you lose 7 pounds of inflammation, is what it sounds like. That tells me there might be something else going on. And if one of those is the issue, then you got the solution. Now, if you do that testing, they're like, look, you don't have any mold toxicity. There's no heavy metal issues. We didn't find any parasites. Then I would go back to what Adam said. I had a client like this, and it took us a year. It literally took a year because we would do this reverse diet back down. Nothing would happen. And so what I did is I kept her at a nice maintenance, slightly above maintenance for a year. So for a full year, it's like, we're just going to stay here and we're just going to get strong. And then we did a cut and her body responded. So, and now leading to that, she was a chronic overtrainer, chronic dieter. Like for years and years and years, that's just what she did. And my theory is that the body has a memory. Maybe it's the central nervous system.
Totally.
And you cut the calories, the body's like, I've been here before. Let's adapt. So, but before all of that, I would get like I said, heavy metal testing, get the testing for mold toxicity, parasites, gut health, and start there. And then if that looks good, then I'd keep you, if your upper limit's 2,500, you drop down to 1,900, I'd keep you like 2,200 for a while and just stay there for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. So question with that. So, and that's kind of what I was thinking I needed to do was to get some of that testing done to eliminate that or just figure that out. Going forward for right now, so I kind of gave up. I was doing power lift through November and December, just figuring, well, I'll take advantage of the extra calories there at that time. 4 weeks in, though, I injured my shoulder a little bit. I feel like it might be my labrum, so I just kind of backed off. Been working on anabolic just to keep it basic. But I guess any thoughts on what I should be doing next?
Symmetry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do symmetry. Do you have it?
I do.
Oh, good. Do symmetry.
I like symmetry and keeping your calories at least 2,200 to 2,400 around
Just
that range.
keep it there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Stay in that range.
Okay.
While you get all this testing and get to the bottom of this. Because that might just be like a good sweet spot. Because I mean, I'm impressed with the response from the bulk. That's a really good response from the bulk.
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's a home run response for a client to be able to increase their calories that much significantly. The scale not move, see all the strength gains, the body fat percentage. I mean, that's such a great example of your body like really like taking care of itself and doing what it's supposed to do. The fact that it didn't give you the response body fat wise by dramatically cutting that much tells me there's either something else going on or your body has just become that adapted to that low calorie, high intensity.
And what led me to kind of point in the direction of the testing is here's another sign, right? Well, the anxiety is a big sign. When you said my hormones went crazy, that's interesting. if you're on hormone replacement therapy, that hasn't solved all of those strange symptoms, anxiety, sleep issues, hot, cold intolerance, energy up, energy down. And it helped a little bit, but it's like, still, I'm kind of like, what's going on? That makes me think, okay, there might be something else happening.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. Any thoughts on, so prior to July, like by June, I'd be kind of hanging on around like 160, 163 for a while and had been doing really good there. And then, like I said, in July, I put on another 7. And then over the last little bit, I put on some more. Is any thoughts on that, or is it probably what we just kind of explained?
Maybe. I mean, did anything change, or is it just like out of nowhere?
No.
You're tracking everything and nothing changed.
Yeah. Well, now let's see. It started in November just because I knew I was going to be doing power lift. I was slowly reversing again. But this time I definitely gained more weight than I had in the past when I did a reverse.
Yeah. Where are you at right now?
We also did the holidays around that time too.
Right now I dropped back down to like the 1900 range just because I was just getting really frustrated with how my clothes were feeling.
Yeah, you're fine. I'd keep it around 2,000, up a couple hundred, down a couple hundred, and just stay there for a while until you get the test results back. If the test results come back negative, still stay there.
I mean, I like you around 22, 2,400. The fact that 2,600 gave you what you saw results tells me you probably need closer to that. And maybe staying between 22 and 24 will probably allow some days where you're a little under on calories, some days you're in a little bit of a surplus. And if we do it just right, maybe we can just have this beautiful exchange of
I don't disagree.
Add a little muscle, lose a little bit of body fat. Maybe that's what
I don't disagree. I mean, I said a little lower just because she just suddenly gained weight.
Yeah,
but I don't disagree.
Okay.
I would love for you to follow up with us after the testing. Anytime we have an interesting case.
When you get those results, let us know because
Yeah.
I'd love to have you back on the show if we see something.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to be back on.
Okay.
And then hopefully we see you. I don't know if you've been coming to the webinars or not, but Sal and I every other month have been doing the free webinars for the trainers. So hopefully we see you in there.
Yes, I've been able to attend one. A lot of them I have to watch the replays. It's a time issue between my training with my clients and trying to get you guys and my NCI courses as well.
Good. Well, at least you're watching the replays. That's good. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate you so much.
You got it. Those were clients like that were challenging as hell, but also very rewarding.
Yeah.
But it was like a puzzle. All right, what is going on?
What's the piece? What's going to unlock?
She did say something. I know she said July, not much change, but I heard her say two things that kind of conflict a little bit. She made the case of like, I decided I'd go on this reverse diet or bulk because it was the holidays. I would just use the extra calories to my.
What does that look like?
Yeah, and so maybe some of the weight gain over the holidays was your reverse diet was a little bit more
higher than you said.
Yeah, higher than you said because you were enjoying because those foods can creep up real fast. You have what you think is a tiny slice of something.
Oh, it's 300 calories more.
Yeah. So that to me that might be which is why I thought maybe that was why she put on a little bit extra during that time. I don't know, but I've had clients before. It's
not super common.
Yeah,
but when you get it,
and let me tell you, it's tough to get that client who they want to lose 15 pounds or so, 15, 20 pounds they want to get off, and they're not quite where they want to be. But yet we got great results when we reverse dieted them as far as strength, building muscle, and not putting weight on. Like for somebody who is trying to lose weight, then you need to understand that being able to increase your calories by 800 calories
and not gain
much weight at all is a huge win. So that's such a positive sign of moving in that direction. But then when I go right back and I say pull 800 or 1,000 calories off and they don't see any weight loss from it, I mean, that a lot of times is from somebody who just was chronically under eating for so long.
The person I had lived at 1,000 calories, ran all the time. We reversed her up to, I don't remember what it was, 2,400 calories. And I'd cut her down to 1,600 calories, and she'd lose like 2 pounds.
Yeah, and then it hit a plateau.
What is going on?
They lose a little bit, and most of that's just water because they're eating so many than less, and then they hard plateau.
Yeah, and I'm like, what is happening?
Well, and you heard her say, right? She said, I was,
chronic overtrained.
She was doing HIT boot camps and 1,400 calories. So and that she had that as a job, and as a trainer how much you move.
Oh yeah.
So you're moving a lot,
You're doing the class with
if
them.
you're and who knows if you're doing some of the boot camp stuff with them, like that's a.
I know. Well, Courtney experienced that a bit with the anxiety and attributed more to the Hashimoto's now and like thyroid issues and so. But she's obviously kind of taking meds for thyroid. But yeah, it's a conundrum.
All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. 30% body fat for men. This is way too high. This is actually a bit high for women as well. So in today's episode, we're talking about how you can go from 30 to 10. What is 10% body fat? This is when you have a visible six-pack. Can you go from 30 to 10%? Yes, it's possible, but not if you guess along the way. So we're going to talk about how you can do that in today's episode.
Now, there's a huge range, right, of like body types.
Yes.
Some people can run a little bit heavier or a little bit higher body.